What do you think? You know, not make sense. I fought with Ilia for what? Not belt, nothing, you know. Money, I have money, I don't need money.
I really believe that I can beat the current champion, Islam.
There's all these opponents, they all say they want to finish me in the first or second round. I already said, if you can make 155, you can get into the cage. Let's talk about it then.
It's not going to be Ilia Topuria. In fact, I'm told it is going to be Justin Gaethje.
As speculation continues to swirl about a potential clash between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria at UFC 317, Makhachev has poured cold water on the rumors, dismissing the matchup as one that doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, Topuria seems to be preparing for a big moment. He recently posted on X that he started his training camp, and Spanish media reports confirm he's gearing up for a title fight at UFC 317. UFC legend Michael Bisping weighed in on the situation, noting the buzz surrounding Topuria across the internet as a clear sign that the hype is building. While Bisping acknowledges Makhachev's superior wrestling, he gives the edge to Topuria when it comes to boxing. He also points out Makhachev's sharp kicking game, something Alexander Volkanovski experienced firsthand. However, Bisping warns that Topuria's heavy lead leg stance could make him vulnerable to calf kicks, which Makhachev could use to control the distance.
Well, we know one thing, camp has begun. All you got to do is Google the name Ilia Topuria. It's all over the internet, it's all over Twitter, it's everywhere. Camp has begun. But I think Islam's wrestling is probably a little bit better. But if we just say that, if you look at the striking styles, Ilia Topuria, I favour him as the boxer. Islam Makhachev, he's got some nice little kicks, just as Alexander Volkanovski, right? The problem is with Ilia Topuria, with that boxing style, he's very, very heavy on that lead leg. So you're going to look for Islam Makhachev to chip away with calf kicks, try and keep him at bay with Ilia being the shorter guy, then bring the kicks to Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. That would do huge numbers, and we all want to see it.
On the flip side, Chael Sonnen has dismissed the idea of an Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria fight happening anytime soon. According to Sonnen, based on what he's heard, Justin Gaethje is expected to be Makhachev's next opponent. With Gaethje, Makhachev, Dustin Poirier, and Max Holloway all seemingly off the table, Sonnen turned his attention to potential matchups for Topuria. He floated the names of Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, and Paddy Pimblett as possible contenders. Sonnen questioned which of these options makes the most sense for Topuria, now that the top-tier title contenders appear to be locked into other fights.
It's not going to be Ilia Topuria. In fact, I'm told it is going to be Justin Gaethje. But the next best thing, if it's not Ilia Topuria, who would Ilia Topuria face? You got Charles, you got Tsarukyan, you got Paddy the Baddy. Who would you put with Ilia Topuria? But those are your options. Gaethje, Islam, off the board. Poirier, Max, off the board. Third time.
Islam Makhachev has made it clear that he's looking to move up in weight and has no interest in facing featherweights. He expressed frustration with fighters from lower divisions calling him out, stating that a win over Ilia Topuria wouldn't add much to his legacy, similar to how he felt about his fight with Alexander Volkanovski. Instead, Makhachev has his sights set on becoming a two-division champion, aiming to cement his legacy by conquering a new weight class.
You be a bit small guy,
Yeah.
It's not your weight division. If I beat Topuria, it's gonna be
The
same.
same thing.
Everybody gonna talk same. But if I
Go up.
go up, takes a second belt, this is a legacy.
Yeah.
I want to be like you know?
Islam Makhachev has long expressed his desire to move up to the welterweight division, but he admitted that Belal Muhammad has complicated those plans. The two have grown close and now share the same manager, making a potential matchup between them more difficult. Despite that, Makhachev acknowledged that the future is unpredictable and emphasized that both he and Belal share the same goal, to become double champions.
We become like close friend, we have same manager, we can talk, But we also, because I have opponent,
Yeah.
if I
Go up.
go up, takes a second belt, this is a legacy.
Yeah.
I want to be like you, Champ, how many? 11 times defend your belt.
You're on your way, man. You're on your way. Like I said, there's nothing. Like I said, I think what you're doing now, one defeat. You got finishes. You got great
I
fights.
agree. If I have some real contender after Arman,
Yep.
I'm not looking behind him. you know.
Yeah.
But if I have some real contender,
It's you
I
kind
will
of
defend my belt.
Yeah, I mean, the fight with that's the thing that when you fought Charles Oliveira, I told people, I was like, here's the difference. Charles is good because he just fights,
Yeah.
but he also exposes his chin a lot, and he gets dropped.
On his end, welterweight champion Belal Muhammad shares the same sentiment and has no interest in fighting his friend Islam Makhachev. He emphasized the deep respect and loyalty he has for Islam and their shared team, making such a matchup off limits in his eyes. Instead, Belal mentioned several other potential opponents for Makhachev, Justin Gaethje, who's riding high after a big win, Paddy Pimblett, who drew attention with his victory over Michael Chandler, and both Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan, who are each looking for a rematch.
They've done so much for me. They helped me so much that it wouldn't be worth it for me to fight those guys. There's just way too much respect and loyalty on my end. But I think people are just like wondering, and they're just hoping for him to fight. They're looking for any excuses for him, right? Like there's guys right now in that division that make sense. Like Justin Gaethje makes sense. He's coming off a big win. He's 3-1 in his last 4 fights. People are going to tune into Justin Gaethje. He hasn't fought Justin Gaethje yet. You got Paddy Pimblett, who just came off a huge finish of Michael Chandler. Like, he has a big name. That's another fight that makes sense. You got Charles Oliveira waiting for a rematch, Arman waiting for a rematch. There's plenty of guys.
Belal Muhammad believes Ilia Topuria needs to prove himself against another opponent before earning a title shot against Islam Makhachev. In his view, it wouldn't be worthwhile for Islam to face yet another former featherweight. Muhammad pointed out that no matter what Islam does, critics will still find something to say about him and his team. He feels that true respect for Islam will only come after he continues to beat top contenders. That's why Muhammad suggests letting Topuria secure a significant win first, to make a potential matchup with Makhachev more meaningful.
I think that Ilia definitely needs to fight somebody before he gets that title shot, because it's not really worth it for Islam to fight another 45 or give another 45er a chance, because people are, no matter what they do, people are gonna hate on Islam, hate on Team Habib, no matter what happens. So for him, it's like, you guys are gonna give me the respect that I deserve anyway if I beat him. So let him get a win first, and then it'll be worth it for me.
Belal Muhammad also shared his thoughts on Ilia Topuria's chances against Islam Makhachev, saying he doesn't see Topuria as the toughest challenge. In fact, he predicted that Islam would finish him by the second round. Muhammad believes Makhachev dominates most fighters in the division, though he does recognize Justin Gaethje's dangerous knockout power. He also brought up Arman Tsarukyan's closely contested first fight with Islam, noting that it was impacted by an injury. Muhammad urged the UFC to step in and take control, pointing out that several top contenders, like Charles Oliveira, Tsarukyan, and Dustin Poirier, are currently refusing to fight unless it's for a title shot.
But how do you think that fight would go, Islam and Ilia? Do you think Ilia is the toughest challenge for him in that division right now, by the way?
No, I think he would finish Topuria probably like by the second round. I think in the division, stylistically, honestly, I see Islam just like dominating all these guys. Obviously, Justin always has that knockout chance. He always has that power. And then Arman, that first fight was so good, so close. But coming off that injury the day before the fight, it sucks because he has to get another fight, and nobody really wants to fight him right now. But yeah, you got a lot of these guys in the division are saying, I'm not fighting nobody unless for the title. Like Charles said it, Arman said it. Now Topuria saying it. So like the UFC just needs to put their foot down and tell these guys, yo, you fight you, shut up.
Luke Thomas raised an interesting question about what would benefit Islam Makhachev's legacy more: taking a fight with Ilia Topuria next, or holding out for a different challenge. He admitted that a victory over Topuria would certainly enhance Islam's legacy, no doubt. However, Thomas stressed that Topuria is a legitimate threat and far from an easy opponent. While Alexander Volkanovski was also a difficult test, Thomas pointed out that Topuria brings a different kind of danger to the table, which makes a potential matchup even more intriguing.
What's going to do more for Islam's legacy if he fought Topuria next? And you might say, well, if he beats Topuria, that would add a lot to his legacy. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. No question about it. But one, Topuria is a real threat. Topuria is a real threat. and by no means a fucking walk in the park. Neither was Volk, certainly, but Topuria is a different kind of threat than Volk.
Luke Thomas described Ilia Topuria as a bolt of lightning, highlighting how difficult he is to deal with, even for someone like Islam Makhachev. Still, Thomas pointed out a frustrating but persistent narrative surrounding Islam, that he only defeats former featherweights like Alexander Volkanovski, Dan Hooker, and Dustin Poirier, fighters who moved up from 145. Because of that perception, Thomas suggested that while a win over Topuria will be impressive, it might not significantly elevate Islam's legacy. In contrast, he argued that facing someone like Jack Della Maddalena at welterweight could do more for Islam's reputation. Even if Islam were to lose that fight, it wouldn't damage his standing too much, as he'd still hold the lightweight title.